Hi everyone, this is Board Games and Bourbon. I'm Glenn Flaherty, and right now I'm going to tell you about Blitzkrieg, which is a new war game coming to you from PSC Games. Plays in about 20 minutes, and it's more of a tactical game, kind of like a really fast Axis and Allies, because it's a world war. It has familiar war game aspects, like this little tracker that goes back and forth to see who won. And I've really enjoyed it because what it does new is it combines chip placement, strength, and powers that not only affect the immediate theater, but can cascade and kind of affect other theaters as well. So there's like a back door to winning. Plus, there's some really interesting powers like research and nuclear bombs and stuff like that you can do later. I'm going to talk about the base game here. I'm also going to talk about the solo expansion that uses a die and some chits. We'll talk over that briefly. And also the expansion here that puts Germany against Japan fighting over America had they won World War II. Now, when you get the game, you get this little box here. It's going to come with some bags to hold your chits because you want them to be a blind draw. You get some dice and some what are called filters for the solo game. You get this board and some of these little markers. Now, these cubes here can actually start to look pretty much alike, but they represent the Allies and the Axis there. Just make sure you keep some of that colorblind stuff going on. You're also going to get this set of yellow tiles. Normally, they're flipped down like this, so you don't know what they are. Okay, but they give you special powers. Like this is from the Japan expansion and lets you roll twice. Research will let you do anything on the board. You know, you got spies in there. You have a nuclear bomb you can drop, which can shift the powers of the board 7 units, but you got to drop other units, other theaters down 2, and that's pretty powerful because the trackers don't actually have all that many spaces. And the way you play it is very simple, but the choices you make aren't. And in that way, it's kind of like playing Shobu, another game I love. So what will happen is you get your little blinder, you put it down, you draw 3 tiles from your bag, and you put 3 tiles down. So we're just going to pretend like we did that. And let's say these are my 3 tiles I'm going to use. A 2, a 1, and a 2. A 2 air, a 1 in sea, a 2 on land. When we look at our different theaters, the theaters have battles that start from the first battle to the second to the third, and they have to be played in this order. The good thing is you can put your tile wherever you want in that first battle, and you can go to any of the theaters you want. So at any time, there are 5 battles going on, 1 in each theater, okay? When you take your tile, like for instance, this one here, that's air. Air can go on a blue spot, meaning aquatic, or on a brown spot, which is earth, right? So that's Navy and that's Army. And the interesting thing is that the Navy actually has more aircrafts than the Air Force. So go figure. But you can put this anywhere. When you have a sea token, it can only go on a blue, and some of the tiles are split, so they're both brown and blue. They can go there. And when you get your land tile, they can only go on either the brown or, again, the split tiles. And when you put them down, it's going to move the center track that many units. So if I take this here, I'm going to put it down wherever I choose in that first row, and it's going to move this tracker 2 towards me. Okay, so in this case, this tile here is the Allies, and so you're going to move it towards you two. Boom, boom. When this top line is ultimately filled up, whichever side it's on is going to get 2 victory points. You're going to win the game at 25, and you will get bonus points should you push your token all the way over to here, you get 1 point. Should you push it all the way over here, you get 2. If you're really killing it and you get it all the way over to the very end box, you'll not only get all the points, you'll get all the powers that have yet to be used. And what do those powers do? This right here is called Industry. That lets you draw a token from your bag. That's really important because as the game goes on, you get 3 tokens and then you put 1 down. Sometimes an opponent can go on a spot like bomb that makes you discard a token. So you had 2, now you have to discard, you're down to 1 and you're only allowed to draw 1, so now you're at 2. So you're really limiting your choices. That's really bad because sometimes you might be in an all landlocked battle and all you have is sea tokens. So you're kind of, messed up there. But anyway, the factory lets you draw an extra 1. The gear one lets you take one of these blind power tokens and put it in your bag and you might draw it. They're pretty powerful. This one is a 4 aircraft. They're normally 3. The X means you can't use the power on the spot. Okay, so that's kind of cool. You can go here. That'll give you a straight victory point right on the board. Again, these bombs, what that means is that you make your opponent lose a tile. There are also plus tokens on the board. Like this one here might be a little hard to see. It says +3 plus arrows. Now, what does that mean? Well, this is in contrast to this one over here. This says +1. +1 means in this theater, I can move my token 1 unit in my direction on this tracker for victory. However, this one here that has little arrows, and it is a little hard to see, I must tell you, it says +3, but you apply it to a different theater. So, let's suppose the bad guys got a +1 because they went there. Well, maybe I place my tile here, and without even really taking up a spot, I shift it 1, 2, 3 back in my direction. That's really important because you're going to find many times when you play the game, the person who closes out the war within a theater, right, shuts it down. If this person shuts it down and it's on my side, I get the 3 points. They might think they have the victory because the marker is on their side. But if I go to this +3, boom, I just tipped it. And that's a big deal if I get that 3. Okay, so there are neat little decisions going on. You really have to keep an eye on everything. That's pretty much all the tiles here. All the games are pretty brisk. There's a few little rules like, the +3 can't be what tips you into that final box there. There are some, let me see if I can find it here. There are tokens that say like instant, and they're kind of like a Blitzkrieg tile. You put it down, it has a little lightning bolt on it, and let's see what we have here. Let's pour these out, see if I can find it in here. And what the lightning bolt does is it puts you in one of those situations where you're going to want to put yourself on a tile to draw more. Here it is here. So this one here says 0, and it says lightning bolt. That means you can put it somewhere, gain the power. Like let's say I put it on this +3 here. I can move my tile in another theater 3. Let's say it was on the center. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. But the 0 now means, yeah, I didn't get any points here, but it lets me put down another tile. So maybe I'll put down a 3 aquatic one. And when I put down that 3 aquatic, I can move it 3 units in my direction. There might be a power I can use. And so there's this cool cascading effect. There's also going to be bosses in there. These are the generals. The generals are +1. So you get 1 for this, plus you get 1 for every other army, including the aircrafts in your field. There's also an admiral that does the same thing for the Navy. And you just got a lot of different decisions going on there. I think it's really cool. If there was anything I would say detracts from the game, is simply the color scheme. At least for me, it's hard to tell the colors apart, like the chits when they're all on the board together. It's hard for me to tell which is which. Harder, not impossible. I would have liked a 0 spot for my trackers. It starts at 1. But other than that, it's really, really cool. And like I said, you get all these fun little powers over here. Like you get a 5 tank, but you can't get the powers. What's really cool is if you get some of these things that look like a spy and you look like a research. Now, what do those do? Well, if you can really gameplay and get one of these special powers to benefit you, you're going to have a really cool time. I'll tell you, there's so many ways to kind of skirt the issues. In a way, it kind of reminds me of Star Realms like that. The scientist, you can play the scientist on any available space of a theater of operations of your choice to carry out its effect. So you can put it wherever you want in any battle space. It doesn't have to be in the necessarily appropriate area. You can like take this here and maybe no one's even over here and I put it right here on a number 2 and I get 2 points. The spy is really cool because he will copy the value, okay, type, the Army, the Air Force, or whatever, and any special ability of the unit token just placed before you. So it imitates, and that's a really cool one. There's a Navy in here who kind of drops bombs from above, as well as giving you points. There's an aircraft that lets you blitzkrieg through. Then you have the elite forces, the number 5, and like that. Now, beyond this, they have a solo version of this. And the solo version, what it does is it gives you a die. You're going to use a die here when you set up the game for yourself in solo, and you're going to choose how hard you want to play it. You're going to reset all those to 0, take all your chits off the board. Hopefully it won't look like a hoarder's mess down here like it is right now. And depending on how hard you want to do it, you're going to roll the die. You're going to shift these in favor of your opponent, and then you're going to pull these chits, and these chits kind of tell you what kind of initiative you have on the tokens you're going to play on behalf of the AI player. The solo rules are okay, and you can play it, but I think for a game this simple, it's a little bit too involved. There's actually a multi-paged flowchart or outline of decisions you have to do. Select the theater, and then there's a bunch of bullet points, and then it says exception. If there are multiple theaters, and then 2, selecting your positions, and there's a breakdown. Then 3, there's a breakdown on how you select your units that go in. I mean, basically what this is saying overall is make the best strategic decisions for the AI person. I think it's an admirable solo, but not one I'm going to use. It's too ornate. Considering the game is 20 minutes, I mean, it probably takes more rules and more time for me to go through that rule set than it does to make a move. But moving on from there, let's clear this really fast. We're going to talk about the expansion that I think is just fantastic. It is visceral. Look at this. My goodness. Now that's a flow chart there. Now, essentially it's the same thing, except you're going to get your own little bag. I made my own little bag of all of my Japanese players. You even, which is kind of fun, you're going to get a Godzilla in there. Okay, and there's even 2 special powers just for the unit. This one here just basically lets you do something twice and stuff like that. And what happens here, it plays a lot like the first game, except there are starting cities: Seattle, Boston, Honolulu, and Jacksonville. And they're very small, okay? They're basically, whereas you had a theater with many battles, there's just 1 battle per. But once you win the battle here, 2 things are going to happen. When you play it, your little chit marker is, your little victory marker is going to get pushed. It might get pushed over to this red area that says 1 or 2 or 3. When you do that, you get an instant bonus to the next battle you choose. And how do you choose the battle? Well, there's a flow chart over here. Honolulu is connected to San Jose and is also connected to Los Angeles. So you have the options of going there. Once you go to San Jose, do you want to go up into Salt Lake City? Do you want to go, let's say, from Dallas to Atlanta? Do you want to go down to New Orleans? So there's this kind of neat little flow chart going on of where you want to go. If you're totally cornered, you just pick a new theater. But that has a lot of implications there. Because, you get all the way to the end, you're going to score the board. You're going to get 3 points for wherever you are. But when you go into that new battle arena, if you landed on 1, 2, or 3, you move it that many units into your direction. And that's really cool because you're trying to say to yourself, okay, I don't want the person to get this benefit. I do want to get that benefit. I want to deny them instant victory points like that. And this one was really, really exciting. You have fun even when you lose. So that's basically all about Blitzkrieg. Okay, pretty easy. I really, really enjoy it. Definitely the 2 multiplayer boards are stronger than the solo, but the solo is possible. If you were to pick this up, I do not think you would regret it at all. It's a nice change of pace to the typical ones, whereas 13 Days and Iron Curtain are more, maybe political and more abstracted. This feels much more guttural. Okay, so thanks again, everyone. If you have questions about gameplay, let me know. Happy to answer, and I'll talk to you next time, friends. Bye.